And welcome back to episode 151, No Bacardi Rum of the Hit the Showers podcast, presented to you by the Foolproof Entertainment Network. As always, I'm your host, Clifford Jordan Jennings, and I'm riding Dolo this evening. Oh, excuse me, I apologize. And what's good, Jeremy? Is that my guy Trig in the chat? Is that who that is? But yeah, back on Saturday, man. Ain't done one of these in a minute. As my shower heads who've been around for a while know, this is usually the all-around show. But we gonna keep this brief since I'm by myself. But there are some things that I did want to touch on today, so I figured I'd hop on and give y'all a show. First and foremost, I do want to shout out the girl, Clarissa Shields. She definitely solidified her greatest woman of all time title with her October 25th unanimous decision defeat over Savannah Marshall to take home all the belts, undisputing the light middleweight weight division. So I definitely want to shout her out. She's doing big things for women's boxing, and it's definitely interesting to see. Just to run through the old fights real quick, I guess we'll go through that. Devin Haney, also October 25th. He took on George Kambosos, so he successfully defended all of the belts in his undisputed lightweight division at 135. Same outcome as I suspected. I didn't really see nothing different coming from that fight, from the first two fights. It's crazy because it appears that he pitched the shutout in both of them. I don't know that Kambosos got around. I think if you want to be generous, well, I don't know. There might have been a round I would give him in the first fight. The second fight, I will say it looked like Haney got touched a lot more. It looked like Kambosos definitely attempted to change his game plan from the first fight. I thought that was good moves on his behalf. I just don't think he has enough juice to take somebody out like Devin Haney. If I'm being 100% honest, I actually think that if he would have rematched with Teofimo Lopez, Teofimo would have got him, even though I'm not high on him right now either at the moment. But yeah, I think Kambosos, that win over Tio, I'm not going to call it a fluke because I definitely called that one. I thought that Kambosos was coming to take that from Tio. So I don't want to call it a fluke, but I will say now that Tio has been in the ring with him and knows what to expect, I think you would see a different Tio in there as well. Don't know that he would be as good as the Tio we saw against Lomachenko, but I do think he would have had enough to edge that fight out if they fought again. But congrats to Devin Haney. He did what most of us thought he would do. I know it's always going to be some haters out there that's going to be rooting for the Australian, and I'm not mad at him. I just don't know why you would do it. And if you put money on that fight, I hope you lost a portion of your rent money, motherfuckers. No, I'm just playing. I'm playing. But other than that, who was the last one? It was another fight. It was Alicia Baumgardner and who did she fight? Damn, that's gonna throw me off. I should have been prepared. But you know how I go. I'm by myself, so I gotta do it on the fly. Uh Michaela Mayer. Or Mayer, Michaela Mayer, that is who that was that she fought. That fight was actually a lot closer. That decision was up in the air. When they announced the winner of that fight, I had absolutely no idea who took that. But she did get the win. Shouts to her. I believe she undisputed as well, if I'm not mistaken. Let me look that up. Nah, she ain't undisputed. Nah, she ain't undisputed with that victory. But, I mean, she did get multiple belts, so she unified a few of them, but she ain't undisputed. But nonetheless, shout out to her. Doing big things going on in women's boxing. Katie Taylor actually fights tonight as well, since we on women's boxing. Who does she fight? Who does Katie Taylor fight? She fights Karen Elizabeth Caraballo. And that's on DAZN tonight. It's actually a lot of interesting fights coming up tonight. I won't. Why not jump right into it? Why not jump right into it? One of them, and we already mentioned his name before, Vasyl Lomachenko is taking on Jamaine Ortiz tonight. Vasyl Lomachenko, who stands 5'7", 134 pounds with a 16-2 record, 7 KOs, is taking on Jamaine Ortiz, who stands 5'8", 135 pounds, 16-0, 1 draw with 8 KOs. I'm gonna keep it a buck on this one. I don't know what to expect. Vasyl Lomachenko is still an excellent fighter. We haven't really seen him in a little bit. I know he took that time off to go over and handle business in his country. I definitely admire him for that. That was a dog move. I don't believe he's had a fight since he's been back. He might have. Let me check, actually, because I don't want to be wrong on that. He might have, now that I think about it, but if he did, it wasn't against anybody of, it was a tune-up. Let's put it like that. Let's see when was Loma's last fight before this one? So it looks like, it looks like my internet bullshitting me is what it looks like. It ain't even pulling up. Okay. So now I'm getting redirected. Yeah, nah, it's bullshit. Can't find out who his last fight was, but I do think that ever since the Teofimo Lopez loss, he lost a piece of himself. I think he is lacking a bit of confidence that he had before. And don't get me wrong, because he has gotten wins since that fight. But I do think that he is lacking a bit of confidence from that. And I think that he's stepping in tonight with somebody who's a little more dangerous than he expects his opponent to be. Now, I mean, I'll put it like this. I haven't been a follower of Jamaine Ortiz, and when I say that, I mean I haven't followed all of his fights to know all of his opponents. And like I said, my internet isn't exactly doing what I needed to do right now, so that's not trying to help me out. But what I will say, from just watching highlights and looking him up, he's a sharp motherfucker, man. That's a sharp dude right there. And he young and he hungry. And I don't know if that's the right opponent. Put it like this. If Loma does outclass him like he usually does with so many of his opponents, I'll be jaw on the floor impressed. Because that nigga, Jamaine Ortiz, what he does do is he pushes forward. He pushes forward and he doesn't stop punching for real. So this is going to be a very tough fight for Loma. I'm interested to see how it plays out. I don't know if I'm gonna give a prediction on it just yet. Well, why not? I mean, I guess we talking about it, so I might as well give a prediction. I really don't see anybody getting stopped. So if we talking about points, and it's hard to listen because anybody out there that's listening, I don't want them to think that I'm like a Lomachenko, like I'm hating on Lomachenko or anything. I just feel like he hadn't really shown us who he is since that Teofimo Lopez loss. And as we know, that was years ago. You're years removed from that loss. That loss has been over and done for a while now. So haven't really done much else a credible note since then. Level of opposition, I won't say. Well, yeah, it's very clearly gone down. And now I feel like he's working his way back up into the level of opposition for him to actually be a contender to get, his hands on belts. But as far as him hopping in the ring with Devin Haney, he doesn't deserve it. Let's cut that right now. You don't deserve that fight with Devin Haney. I feel like the only fights that need to be made with Devin Haney right now are the only fights that need to be made with Devin Haney right now are Gervonta Davis. Even though Shakur Stevenson just moved up to 135 and he hadn't really proved his chops yet, I think you give him the Terrence Crawford treatment, where you give him a title shot early. I don't know if he deserves Devin Haney yet, but we know what kind of fighter he is. I actually see him beating Devin Haney, but that fight is going to be a snooze fest. That fight's going to be a snooze fest. Either it's going to be a snooze fest because these are both technical tacticians, or you have a situation where they both say fuck it and start swinging for the fences. While highly unlikely, it has happened with fighters that don't usually slug it out. So, I mean, that would definitely be interesting to see. But I think Devin Haney only really needs, at the moment, Gervonta Davis. Gervonta Davis. Yeah, I can't really think of anybody else that deserves a shot. T.O. doesn't deserve a shot. Loma does not deserve a shot. Even if he beats this Jermaine Ortiz, the only reason he would deserve a shot at Devin Haney is his name. His name alone. Because even that record, 16-2, 12 KOs, is kind of suspect. And while I know the only losses were to Orlando Salido and Teofimo Lopez, I still don't like that record. I feel like he's been... He's kind of been rolled out the red carpet because there's a lot of fighters with better records than that that's still waiting on their shot. Look at Jermaine Ortiz. He's 16-0-1, 8 KOs, and he ain't really ever had a shot for motherfuckers to really know his name like that. So, I don't think he deserves it. I don't know who else would. I'm trying to think real quick through the 135, and the four horsemen, so to speak, are Gervonta Davis, Devin Haney, Teofimo Lopez, and Ryan Garcia. So this is where it gets interesting, right? Because we're waiting to see if Gervonta takes a Ryan Garcia fight. That's what it's looking like. If you look up the news, chances are you're going to see a lot of articles about Ryan Garcia preparing for Gervonta Davis and vice versa. I would prefer to see the Haney Gervonta, especially given the fact that I don't see him spending too much time at 135 anymore. If you watched him at the weigh-in, that motherfucker was so weight drained it was scary. That motherfucker was so weight drained it was scary. Now, I give him props for rehydrating because he looked good on the night of the fight, but goodness, my nigga's eyes was sunk in. He looked like Conor McGregor in that. I can't remember who he was fighting, but man, it was tough to see. So he's not gonna be spending much more time at 135. I think he's moving up to 140. So I feel like if we gonna do it, if we gonna get it, it gotta be sooner than later. It got to be sooner than later. And right now, there hasn't been an official announcement of a Gervonta Davis, Ryan Garcia. So let's be honest. If they announce that within the next week or so, we know that fight is 3 months out. So put it like this. If they announce that fight, Devin Haney has no choice but to take a fight with somebody else. I don't know who that's going to be, but he's not going to wait 4 months to see who wins that fight to decide who he may give a shot to at his belts. That's not going to be the case. So, my whole thing behind that for real is he's going to end up taking another fight, whether that be defending at 135, and we already know how weight drained he was in his past fight, so I feel like this may be his last fight there. He may have 1 or 2 left in him, so if Tank don't get in these 1 or 2, I don't know. I mean, you was talking all that shit about him being the email champ, but I'd much rather get the belts taken him from somebody than because somebody stepped down and didn't no longer around to fight, defend him. So I'm interested to see how that plays out. I don't mind a Ryan Garcia Gervonta Davis fight, but if we keeping it a buck, Ryan Garcia is not ready for him. If Gervonta gets Ryan, I say he wins. If Gervonta gets Devin, I definitely say he wins because Kambosos touched him up too much. Kambosos touched him up too much for him to be as technical as he is, and we all know that Devin or Gervonta, it doesn't take that many. It only takes one. We saw that in the Rolando Romero fight. Only takes one shot. And if Devin's getting hit like that against George, then I can't imagine him getting hit any different against Tank. So that's the fight I want. But Ryan Garcia, if he does hop in there, Ryan's out of there in 8. I don't even know if I say 8. I say 7. Ryan's out of there in 7 rounds. Now, I do like his speed. I do like his length. He's definitely a rangy fighter. He's fast and he has power, so you got to give him that. But he also gets nervous. We saw that Luke Campbell fight, and he got dropped. Got dropped nervous, making mistakes that shouldn't have been made. So those are things that you can't do against Tank. He knocking out Mario Barrios at 140. So little old Ryan Garcia ain't fucking around. Stop that. But I was supposed to give my. I'm gonna give this to Jermaine Ortiz by decision. And let me write that down. Jermaine Ortiz by decision. Because like I said, I do not see anybody getting stopped in that fight. I mean, it's definitely possible, but I just don't see it happening. The big fight tonight, I guess big fight. Some would call it a big fight. Some would call it a circus fight. Jake Paul versus Anderson Silva. That is definitely popping off this evening. I think that's a very interesting fight. As Jake Paul, 6'1", he around that 185 mark, even though I know he walks around 205. So I think they fighting at 185, if I'm not mistaken. I could be off. It could be one of them like the Logan Mayweather where the weight don't matter for real. But Jake Paul 5-0, 4 KOs, 24 years old, fighting the 47-year-old Anderson Silva. 6'2", 185, MMA record 34-11-1 with 20 KOs. I mean, if I'm going, just to throw it out there immediately, I guess my immediate prediction goes to Anderson. And I know that I've said in the past when talking about Jake Paul and all them, I said no MMA fighter would beat him. Even though I did go with Woodley in that first fight. Shit, if I'm remembering correctly, I might have went with Woodley in the second, thinking he trained different. And we all know how that ended. But I know I said no MMA fighter would beat Jake for real. But Anderson Silva is different, man. Anderson Silva is the best striker in MMA history, first and foremost. Secondly, he has the best defense, head movement and awareness, distance, all that is, I've never, like, it's on an elite level, whether it's MMA or boxing. And then he went in there, and I know, although I hate to even say it, although Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. is not the best fighter, he went in there and schooled him. He went in there and schooled Julio Cesar Chavez. And I believe that was his first legit boxing match. School Julio Cesar Chavez is an MMA fighter. He looked good doing it. Now, there was still some awkwardness. You could tell he was coming from a different, discipline, hopping in the ring, but he still looked good. And I can only imagine him training since then, because I know he knocked out his second opponent. Can't remember his name, not about to look it up, but he knocked him out in drastic fashion. And then you going up against a Jake Paul. Now, while Jake Paul has been training consistently for, 3-4 years now, we can say, I still feel like there's a lot that can't be taught in that time frame. There's a lot that you have to learn on the fly, because it's kind of like training at your job. Yeah, they're going to train you to the basics, but you're always going to run into something that nobody's ever seen before. Oh, I never seen that, I don't know what to tell you. And that's one of those situations when you get in with an experienced fighter, whether it be MMA or boxing, if they do have adequate hands, they're going to be able to show you some shit you ain't seen before. Especially with the awkwardness of an MMA fighter jumping into the ring. We saw that with Conor McGregor and Floyd Mayweather. Conor was touching him way too much, way more than he should have been touching Floyd, and that's because Floyd couldn't get with the awkwardness of that MMA transition. The distance is different, the strike speed, like the jump into your strike type shit, all that's different. He wasn't ready for it, and that's why it looked awkward. But if I'm keeping it a buck, I'm going with Anderson. And I don't think he knocks anybody out in this either. I think it's a decision. I'm gonna go with Anderson by decision. Let me write that down so I know. I'm going with Anderson Silva by decision. Alright. Yeah, other than that, I don't really feel like going through all the, the little side cards and shit, because it is other fighters fighting. A lot of good up-and-coming fighters. I wish I would have wrote some down that you should keep an eye on, but I didn't, and it's going to be hard for me to think off the top of my head, so I'm sure we'll just shout them out, if they end up coming out victorious after this weekend. So yeah, now let's get into some basketball, because we definitely only been talking football since the Saturday shows haven't been around. So let's talk basketball, and since I'm on here by myself, I'm gonna be extremely biased, right? I'm gonna talk about my Cavs, I'm gonna shit on Mark's Lakers, and then I'm gonna bring up Orlando with Paulo Banchero or whatever. I'm going to bring something up with that, because I think that could be, I've already said that I think not only Orlando as well as Houston, I think they both going to be some teams to definitely watch out for. Not necessarily this year, as I think they're still building, and of course with building comes developing chemistry, flow with the squad, all that, and they're both young teams, so it's going to take a little bit. But I do think within the next, including this year, so I think I said before this season started, the next 3 years, you're going to see significant changes come from both of those teams. And I think they've already started, if I'm being honest. So I guess to get into it, everybody knows Paolo's been balling. He's been balling out there. Just came off of his career high with 29 points against my Cleveland Cavaliers. What day was that? I think that was Wednesday. Yeah, Wednesday, if I'm not mistaken. He had a 29-point game high, or career high. But just to point out his current stat average, and I know it's only been, 5 games? 5 games. And I think this may have even been at the time. Yeah, no, this may be current, but he's 24 points per game on average, 7.6 rebounds, 3.2 assists off of 44.8% scoring. And watching him play, I mean, he's definitely extremely skilled for a big man. Like, extremely skilled for somebody 6'10". And I hate to even bring this up, right? Because we'll never get another one. But I know how everybody tried to say that Ben Simmons was coming out of LSU and working with LeBron James to get his jump shot and the, iron out the wrinkles in his game. And LeBron was giving the crown to Ben, saying that once he left, Ben Simmons was going to be the guy to carry them off into the sunset. And as we know from recent days, that hasn't been the case. But I'm not going to be hard on Ben like I know a lot of people would be. I still feel like everybody's been saying, he's coming back from an injury. Regardless, he's been out for 2 years. 2 years in basketball. I think a little less than 2 years, but we can say 2 years of basketball. You got to get your rhythm back. You got to get your confidence back, most importantly, and then you got to get back with the speed of the game. And that's all going to take time. That's not something that can be done in 5 games, period. And to ask anybody to do it would be crazy. Now, the only place I do agree with all of the Ben Simmons detractors is it seems like he's just scared to shoot. He's just scared to attempt a shot. And when he does attempt shots, he's in his head, and they end up looking awful, like a Shaq and a Fool blooper. And I'm sure he's been there already a few times. But again, you need more than just to develop the speed of the game or to get comfortable with that again. You got to get your confidence back. And it's very clear he doesn't have it right now. Russell Westbrook is lacking confidence. Shit, Russell Wilson, put him in there with him. They all lacking confidence at the moment, and it's going to take something good for them to develop that belief in themselves again. Especially the way they previously been playing, currently been playing. That's going to take a little bit. It's not going to be able to happen in 4 or 5 games. But the only reason why I brought that up is because I was looking at his averages, and I know it is pretty quick to jump out the window on this, or pretty soon. But to look at his averages after the 5 games, something said, compare him with LeBron's rookie year. And don't get me wrong, LeBron played his whole rookie year, and he finished with 20.9 points per game, 5.5 rebounds per game, and 5.9 assists per game. And that was off of 41.7 from the field. So I'm just basing it off of a skill set, right? When I look at the skill set that they both possess, Paolo and Ben and LeBron, I would definitely think that Paolo Banchero would be the closest to the one who would deserve the king title after LeBron retires, based on an athletic big man that can do it all. They already putting him at point. In the Magic, they already letting him run point at 6'10". It's like a repeat of the Ben Simmons situation. The only difference is the man is a natural scorer as well. That's tough. That's what LeBron was. LeBron was a natural scorer who could facilitate also. And I think that's what we're getting out of Paolo. My only question in that situation in regards to will he have comparable numbers with LeBron after his rookie year is, will he hit that rookie wall? Will that rookie wall get him? I feel like the rookie wall gets everybody at some point. And I don't see him being any different. I mean, coming from a college season to an NBA season, dealing with how hard you're going to have to play, and not to mention that you're the star of this team now currently. People are going to be bumping up against you, banging up against you, roughing you up. And to get through 82 games, man, without hitting the rookie wall, couldn't imagine it. Couldn't imagine it. But that was just a question I had. Could Paolo be the next next king, and I don't want to even say king like of the entire league, but as far as a big man position that can do it all. Because whether you want to admit it or not, we just had a conversation, and there's not a lot of players in there that can guard a 1 through a 5. LeBron James is one of them, whether you want to admit it or not. Ben Simmons is one of them. And right now, Paolo is as well. So with them being the only 3 that can currently do that, and if I'm missing somebody, please let me know. But I don't really think that I am. He would have to get it. Well, not have to get it, but he would have to be up for, what's the word? He's one of the candidates. Let's put it like that. But aside from that, also with the Magic, they currently been running a lineup with 4 players on the court at the same time that are 6'10" and above. That's crazy. That's crazy. And to list those 4 players is Paolo Banchero, Franz Wagner, Wendell Carter Jr., and Bol Bol. That's a wild lineup right there. Because you got Bol Bol's like 7'2", 7'3". Wendell, I think, is 6'11" or 7 foot. Franz is 6'10", 6'11", and then you got Paolo at 6'10". Now, with this lineup, I think they said that they spent 22 total minutes on the court. These 4 players shared 22 minutes together, all of them together on the court. They said that out of those 22 minutes, they contested 47 out of the 49 shots taken with them on the floor. And also held Donovan Mitchell, R.J. Barrett, Jalen Brunson, and Kelly Oubre Jr. to shooting 20% from the field with that lineup. That says something, man, because clearly if you got 4 7-footers on the court at one time, that's wreaking havoc on any defense. It's going to be hard to score on something like that. It's hard to drive on something like that, hard to shoot on something like that. That's just a tough lineup. But I don't think that they have the endurance to be able to make this like an actual thing. That's only something you can put in at times, like when Golden State changed the game and went small ball on Cleveland to get that first victory back in 2015. Yeah, because Cleveland won it in 2016. It wasn't the first time we've seen that, but it was the first time we've seen it in a while. First time we've seen it in a while, and I believe they even had Draymond Green running a 5 at one point. We know he's 6'8". You got a 6'8" center who can run point guard in that situation. I don't even want to say run point guard. I'll say bring the ball up the floor. Let's correct myself. I'm not giving Draymond Green single-digit ass point guard, but he does have what it takes to bring the ball up. He just better make a decision with it and not keep it in his hand too long. But I do think that's very interesting. I would like to see a little bit more on that. And I'm sure I will be covering it as the season goes on. But other than that, I would like to point out that my Cavs, bang bang, currently 3rd in the East at 4-1. We're behind the Hawks at number 2, who are currently 4-1, and the Bucks at number 1, who are currently 4-0. Unfortunately, my favorite Cleveland Cavalier has been out since game 1. He got an eye laceration in game 1. I believe it was the beginning of the second quarter, or middle to beginning of second quarter. And it was by, who was it, Gary Trent Jr.? No, it wasn't Gary. I can't remember who it was. No, it was it was Gary Trent Jr. They played Toronto. Gary Trent Jr. was swiping at the ball and got him in the eye, and he got a laceration on the inside of his eyelid, which is very weird, but I mean, It definitely kept him out of the game. He since returned to practice, I believe, this past Wednesday. So I'm hoping him a speedy and great recovery. We need him back on that court immediately. But I will say Donovan Mitchell has been going off in his absence, and he stepped up. He's done the distributing, he's done the scoring, he's done whatever we needed Donovan to do, including the rebounding. So just to run down in the first and you know what, I need to see what he scored against the Celtics too, now that I think about it, because in his Donovan Mitchell's first 4 games, he is well over 30 points a game. First game against the Raptors, he scored 35. Second game against the Bulls, he scored 35. Third game against the Wizards, he scored 45. Fourth game against the Magic, he scored 37. Oh, no, he didn't. I'm sorry. That was minutes. He scored 14 points. So he did miss one game. One game he didn't hit 30 or more. Or no, I'm tripping. Those are all minutes. It's 31 against Toronto. I'm tripping. 32 against Chicago. 37 against Washington. 14 against Orlando. And then 41 against Boston. So, yeah, he been going off. Great to have him. I also, just to discuss, since we haven't talked about basketball in a while, I know I was kind of upset with the trade. I mean, it's not like I didn't want Donovan Mitchell. I just didn't like the fact they gave away our rookie Ochai Agbaji. We couldn't have got that trade without Colin Sexton. I understand that. He has to be, the marquee piece of that trade. But then we gave away Markkanen. I thought there was somebody else in a draft pick or so, a couple draft picks. And I'm like, damn, I don't know about all that for Donovan. I don't know about all that. That was my first thought. I don't know about giving up all that for Donovan Mitchell. And the funny thing is, I saw on YouTube, I believe it was a short, they were saying LeBron James has been tracking all the teams with the draft picks that correlate to the year that both his sons will be coming out of college or high school, if they change the rules, whatever the case may be, so he knows what team he needs to go to in order to successfully play with them. And they said that was allegedly one of the reasons why the Cavs made that trade, to get rid of all the draft picks that would entice him to want to come back to Cleveland. So if he wanted to play with his sons, he couldn't do it there. And I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at that if I'm a Cleveland Cavalier. Don't get me wrong. I love LeBron, but do your thing, G. You left. You went to LA. Do your thing. We don't need you coming back to mess our team up for a second time. I know you got the ring. But the what you traded away to get it, the draft picks, all that, I just can't forget that. I can't forget that. It was ridiculous. So yeah, I wouldn't mind him not coming back to Cleveland. Go do that in Utah or somewhere. Go play with your son in Orlando or Miami or something like that. But we cool in Cleveland. It is not because we don't love you. I can't speak for everybody, because I love you, LeBron, but we know that you don't have the best GM skills. We know that. So stay in LA. The rate you going, you may get the first round draft pick next year. Them motherfuckers may get the first round draft pick next year anyway, because they are currently sitting 15th in the West, which is the bottom. Can't get no lower. Might be able to put them 30th in the league. I don't know. But 15th in the West with an 0-5 record. Worst start of a season since the 2014-2015 season. I just don't get it. I mean, I get it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a bad collective. It's a bad collective. The only decent collective on that team is LeBron James and Anthony Davis. And we know Anthony Davis is injured more than he's on the court, and LeBron James is getting old to where he can't strap on his backpack and carry the team on his back like that like he used to anymore. So unless you're going to bring somebody that's going, carry some of the load, get him off of that, I don't see nothing going in LA. I don't see them making the playoffs. I don't see them making the play-ins. I don't see any of that. Unless they start making trades or make something big happen, I don't see them doing anything this year. So LeBron might as well stay because he on pace to having a few first-round draft picks if he keeps the squad he currently has. And maybe you can play with your son. I don't know. Shit. But we'll move on. Let me see before we do. Oh, I would like to point out, LeBron James did show some love to Russell Westbrook after that game 5 that they played, I believe, against the Timberwolves. Was it against the Timberwolves? Yeah, I believe it was the Timberwolves. But Russ had this to say after Westbrook's game 5. He said, Westbrook's play catapulted the Lakers' energy throughout the game. He said he was great. And he said all game he played great. Now, also, I would like to point out, stat-wise, wasn't a bad game from Russ. I do think it was one of those confidence-building games that we discussed earlier in the podcast. I think these are one of those games that's going to help him get his confidence back. But it definitely wasn't the best stats, as he scored 18 points, got 8 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal. He shot 6 for 17 from the field, 1 for 4 from the 3-point line. But this is also his first game coming off of the bench since, I believe, the 07-08 season, if I'm remembering correctly. And I read it in an article. I just can't remember if that was the exact date. But I do think it was. Let me see. So, what was I about to say? Okay. Excuse me. Nose starting to run. But yeah, like I was saying, LeBron definitely shouted him out. Like I said, it wasn't the best game, but it definitely is going to be a confidence-building game. Even Darvin Ham gave credit to Russell Westbrook. And just to read a quote that they had in the article, Russ, my hat's off to him once again, Ham said. Came off and showed the type of impact he can have in that reserve role and shoring up our bench. Not just coming in and trying to maintain anything, but coming in and taking it up a notch. So he was great in that role tonight, and I look forward to seeing him more once we start getting healthy bodies back. So sounds to me like they definitely plan to keep bringing him in off of the bench, as I think they should. At least until he can get his confidence back up to be a little bit more efficient in his shooting. Assist numbers have gone down, but of course that happens when you're coming off the bench, so I don't really take too much off of him on that. We just gotta wait and see how it goes for him and Ben, and all the people struggling throughout. But if I'm being honest, I don't really have much else today because I did want to keep it pretty brief. So let me think, as far as like hitting the showers or whatever the case may be. I hate to do it, man. I really hate to do it. Oh, I know who I'm giving my hit the showers to. I was about to do it. I was about to pick on somebody that I didn't want to pick on. I wouldn't even call it picking on, but you know what I'm saying. I'm giving my hit the showers to Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler, you got to hit the showers. Why? Because you got your extensions in and you took your NBA picture for the games that they use as the promo, looking like a 7-foot stud, and we ain't even seen you in them yet. We ain't even seen you in the extensions yet. You ain't even wore them out on the floor yet. We ain't seen you with your locks flowing on the court yet. Hit the showers. You got everybody hyped, pissed off, upset, confused, and you just gave up on it. Here this nigga hopping on as I'm hitting the showers. What up, FB? We got Malcolm FB King in the building. I can't get up if I'm doing the show by myself. What nonsense? Yeah, hit them motherfuckers. When has Rapunzel played with his locks yet, Q? Has Rapunzel played with his locks yet? I haven't seen him. Well, that's what I like. I like to bring motherfuckers, dig these niggas up. Dig these niggas up out their grave. Yeah, go to talk your nonsense. I ain't said nothing wrong this whole time. I ain't said nothing wrong this whole time. And you know I've been very careful because I have nobody else here to correct me on my names. So I've been very careful. No lies told. Right. He's not. But you got to get more than 5 games. That's why he needs to come off the bench. That's the perfect spot for him. That's the perfect spot for him. That way, you can do whatever the fuck you want to do, Russ. Go out there when the second team is on and lead your second team. If you want to keep shooting, keep shooting. If you want to keep passing, keep passing. But go do you. You just can't be on with the first team, with the Formula One drivers. Nah, not the Nuggets, was it? Yeah. LeBron gave him props after that game. I'm sure he's saying he's struggling. He's struggling, but he getting there. He getting there. He's struggling still, but he getting there. Cause I mean, 18-point game, 8 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal. That's Russell Westbrook shit. That's Russell Westbrook shit, and the fact that you can give me that off the bench, that's a plus. If my best bench player can give me 18 to 24, that's a good game for them. For that top bench player. You feel what I'm saying? So that's a good look for Russ. And if it does anything, it should get his confidence building back up. Mm-hmm. And Steve Nash got pissed and threw his microphone. Yeah, he got pissed walking to, they got a video of him up. He walking to the locker room and he's taking his like mic. You know they got the body mics, like the shit, like the little pocket, yeah, on the back, and he's pulling all his shit off as he's walking in the locker room and throwing it. He was pissed. Listen, and for the audio listeners, we got my guy Q in the building. I want to know what he got to say about Rapunzel in the headband. He's stuttering. What you flabbergasted about? The nigga rocking the what did they call it? the little bun, the little braided bun now with his. Listen, I'm just saying, or Malcolm rocking the Jimmy. That's exactly what that is. The Cody and Caleb. They both had that for a while in Charlotte. Uh, nah, that's Duncan and Hero. I ain't mad at him. Yeah, definitely. He definitely did. That picture. If you go to YouTube, for my shower heads listening, go to YouTube and look up any Heat highlight and look at the picture they got for him on the highlight recap. Oh, it's comedy. It's comedy. And then my nigga added the dreads extensions and then dyed the tip. He dyed the tips blonde too and all that. Like, I was like, damn, who bought the pack of weed for you, Jimmy? He sent his girl to the store. He ain't buy it. His girl bought that, and she bought the shit that comes pre-dyed at the tips. If I can't not. I can't defend or score. Right? I can't defend or score against Jimmy Butler. But what I can do is I can get your hair together, my G. You feel what I'm saying? Be a licensed barber. I seen that you like your sides faded. I'll get you together, line you up, and then you can go to whoever to get your extensions. Listen. You right. You right about that. Well, Jimmy, I'm out of commission at the moment, but as soon as my shoulder goes up above my head, I will have my hair cut and I'll be ready for you. Pat Riley, listen. Pat Riley should have been the one to tell Jimmy the truth. Like, listen, my guy, I don't know your culture, but I don't know if that's a good decision to make. But the slick back been going on since Al Capone, since the King of New York, since all that bullshit. Motherfuckers was slicking they shit. That's what it is. Pat Riley thinks he's the NBA mafia, right? I listen, and I wouldn't be one to argue. I would agree with that, and I like Pat Riley, but I feel like he should have been Jimmy Butler's godfather and been like, my nigga, not my nigga, but maybe that might have had to get through his head, like, my nigga, for real. You might, you might be right, cause if was that wasn't Kelly Olynyk in Miami when he pulled Kevin Love's arm out of socket. Mm-hmm. And that looked pretty intentional. You no, motherfucker, don't be trying to use my team's name to listen. It looked pretty intentional. Like there was no other purpose of him grabbing his arm like that. Now, of course, I'm sure he wasn't like I'm a get it out of socket. Like that wasn't his intent. But you could tell the action, the motion was out of frustration. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying Kevin Love didn't deserve it. He may have deserved it, but I said he may have deserved it. I'm not saying he didn't deserve it. He may have said something slick, and Kelly was like, "Oh, for real? I'm finna nag you all game long, even if I gotta pull on your jersey, pull on your arm, pull on." So I get it, but I doubt Kevin Love said anything. Kevin Love don't say shit. I don't think so. I think Kevin Love. I think Kevin Love is the. No, I do think he's tough. You see all them fucking charges he take at all times. He's definitely got some dog in him. But no, to take a charge like that, like he taking game in and game out too, that takes some balls. Cause you ain't giving the hit, you're receiving it, and then I have to hold my. It's not like you can fall with your hands back and catch yourself or fall crazy. You gotta take that bitch and go straight to your back, man. That takes in 6'8" doing that. Not anymore. He used to. He used to bang around down there in Minnesota. Buzz cut Kevin Love. Yeah, he banged around down there with you. I mean, he did his thing in Cleveland too. You could just see that his game transformed. He turned into a corner man. Like, I'll stay out LeBron's way and I'll stay in the corner and hit my shots. And I'll get down there and get rebounds when I know I can. But that wasn't how he played in Minnesota. I mean, I don't. At the time, you may be right. You may be right. 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 Oh my gosh. Y'all muted because y'all dropped in. Man, damn, Joe.
She did say something.
Over. It ain't hard to tell the truth.
Right.
Man, that's bullshit, though.
If you stay ready, you ain't gotta get ready.
You ain't never been interrogated for 16 to 24 hours before?
Fuck nah. I ain't doing no hours, baby.
You're telling the truth. It don't matter what you say.
I ain't doing no hours. I ain't even about to divulge.
It wasn't mine, officer.
Ain't never been nothing to tell. Trust and believe, if they got me, they got me. You know what I'm saying?
Nope. Cliff said, who you want? Who I gotta give up?
Nah, they asking me anything. They asking me why. Why? What's going on?
Why did you steal that bubble gum, Cliff?
You hear me? I was missing a dime, officer. I don't know what to tell you. Nah, but I don't even know how to do this.
Damn it.
Cliff sold it. See why I got to get on here? Q. See why I said, hold on, before we proceed on this.
Nah, really, if I'm being honest, y'all sold it because y'all got inspired by me talking to Hop On. And then if I would have known there was a potential you would have hopped on, I could have already had that unmuted in the first place. But the fact that you just chose to hop on and come in hot the way you did, I had nothing to do but respond and defend myself. I'm not worried about anything that's going on with the production side of this episode. You know, Malcolm, but it's okay.
You know, Malk's always due for a pop-up. Even if I say I'm not going to be on, usually I end up popping up.
You're right, you pop up, but usually there's somebody else on the show with me, so that's already unmuted. You feel what I'm saying? That's what I'm getting at.
Right.
So that's I fucked up still, but it was a collective fuck up. But
so you and Jimmy hit the showers if that's the case.
That's what I was just about to say, because it don't make sense to continue, because then I'll have to cut the middle and do all kinds of shit. So
that's the 2K Lord saying, get your ass on 2K.
Listen. So I hit him. I already said Jimmy got hit him, because if you was going to rock them, I was expecting to see them on the court. Ain't wore them yet. Hit the showers.
It was on the. He had him in the preseason.
Okay, was it a
half a game?
I'm
He
still
did
not,
all
I'm
his.
not,
He
that's
did
not,
all his team promos and intro videos for the full season.
right, clearly
in
he
him.
did because he has that.
Picture.
Look that picture up. That's all I'm saying.
Look. My dog said, "Baby face assassin." Okay.
Is that what he said?
Yeah.
Okay.
You ain't gonna mess with the baby face assassin, cuz.
Well, listen.
Matter of fact, when the Heat play the Cavs.
Ooh!
Look it up now before we get out of here.
Woo! Hey Siri, when do the Heat play the Cavaliers?
Damn, I can't believe I did that.
November 20th at 7:00 in Cleveland.
Oh, okay. And that's around Thanksgiving. That's around the
Well, who's-
giving of thanks.
Yeah, who's gonna be giving thanks around then? And Cliff, I owe you $5 since the fucking Celtics lost. Q said,
I
"Man,
know my Cavs is real.
man,
I know my Cavs is real. I said if they're healthy, they're coming out the East. Period.
Hey,
this the one."
but I also told you about Karras.
He has been coming on.
No. I told you.
What'd you tell me?
I told you that boy got it.
He doesn't, but that's what I'm saying. That's why I said he has been coming on, but he on any team you look at, Indiana, Brooklyn, Cleveland, ask me if it's consistent. Yeah, he'll give you a 40-point game every now and then, but it's like, you gave me 12.
Okay. With Brooklyn, he looked pretty good. That's where he got his kudos from. And he
I
was
thought
on
it
the,
was
he was on the
Indiana.
rise then. Right?
Indiana though is where he got his first. I think his high is like 53.
They wanted him to be the man.
Or something like that, and then Indy traded him to No, did it happen in Indy or Brooklyn?
No, Indy sent them over to Cleveland.
Indy sent him to Cleveland.
Yeah, he was originally in Brooklyn.
Okay, I had it backwards then. I was thinking Brooklyn.
Yeah, it was Brooklyn, Indiana, then Cleveland, like Q said.
Yeah, I was thinking Indy, Brooklyn.
Mm-hmm.
I'm tripping.
See, Indiana wanted him to be the point man. He don't need to be the point man. He could be a 2.
Right.
Can't be the 1.
Right.
And he's the 2 to Donovan.
Well, let's get out of here since I fucked the audio up. Q, who should hit the showers?
My hit the showers is Clifford Jennings.
Why me?
Because he talk about my boy Jimmy.
Hey, Q hopped
Jimmy
on
need
with
to
the.
be talked about.
I turned on at the right moment. As soon as I turned on, he was giving out hit the showers. I said, Q, you won't believe this shit. We gotta hop on this.
Oh, you a snitch. You talking about
Yeah.
You talking about interrogation.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had to let me know, man.
Listen, ain't no snitching involved. This is on camera. This is recorded. You should be looking it up and watching it to see what I
But
say.
I don't want to see it after the fact. I gotta see it during the fact.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I can
I had
let
to
you
give
know.
Q a chance to respond back.
Yeah. You gotta hit the shout, man.
And you don't got nothing to say other than that nigga was swinging his motherfucking locks of joy in the preseason.
Hey. Hey, look, it worked. His idea worked. Everything.
What was it?
about
Go Gadget hair extensions? I don't get it. What was the
Yes.
idea? What was the plan?
Willow Smith.
Oh, he was inspired. Hey, you already know. Y'all know who mine goes to. I've been talking about it every day to y'all. L.A. Lakers, 0-5, or is it 0-6 now? It's 0-5.
0-5. They 0-5
Hit the
over
mother-
Minnesota. Unless
Hit
they
the
play
showers.
again.
Hit the motherfucking showers. Y'all got to figure out what the fuck we're doing, because I don't think none of us know what we're doing.
Yeah, regardless. I mean, I understand, and we'll finish it, but I understand it's not football, right? Basically, what I'm getting at is, although there's more players on a team, each play is selected so you can orchestrate it as that great, like Brady.
Right.
In basketball, if LeBron is the equivalent to a Brady, you can't orchestrate that game the same way Brady can orchestrate that offense. You feel what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, because there's other 5 players on the team, or 4 players, and then 5 on defense can stop that play right there. That cut, that roll, that screen got missed. Now it's a broken play, and then all of a sudden you have to make it happen. And LeBron is getting too old to make it happen himself. He's old enough to, he's still good to give you 30, but it's not going to be always the correction of a broken play.
Right.
Now you're just seeing a broken play be a broken play, because at this point it's like, what else can he do to get him out of it?
Well, I will say that watching last night's the snippets I saw, him and Russ been working. They had a little chemistry going compared to last season, and how this season started so far. So they've been working together.
I wouldn't be
But they need-
surprised.
As Malcolm said on several occasions, they need shooters.
They need
don't have
shooters.
shooting.
Right,
And that's the biggest problem. You can't spread the floor. You can't shoot.
right.
You know, you're looking at LeBron to hit threes from the half court line. That ain't gonna work.
Right.
You can't shake, you can't bake, baby. Ricky Bobby.
And AD got to stop crying about not playing the 5. This is basketball.
He
I
needs to
wish you
just
go to
play.
Pat Riley and say I don't want to play the 5. Bam don't say that. He undersized. He
Right.
get off in there and do his thing.
Talking about
So I want to
Bam's a little
negate
younger,
my hit
though.
the showers, and I want to give it to AD.
Bam.
AD.
Yeah, Bam's a little bit younger than AD. AD, I told you he's 29. Bam's probably what, 25, 26.
25, I believe.
But damn, AD 30 body like a 45-year-old or some shit. Yeah, I hate to say it.
Right.
Fuck.
Well,
You know?
I guess hit the showers and maybe soak in it for a little bit.
Yeah.
Listen.
Rub your
and his-
body down with some Epsom salt. I don't know. Get your joints. You gotta start doing things to keep.
he beat
your
how's
body
AD
up.
how's AD out more than LeBron?
But so,
Wow. That's
because
easy.
there's a difference, right? LeBron is him, to put it like that. LeBron is blessed by God, and when I say that, I
I
don't
mean, that's true.
like his body,
true.
his frame, his muscles, his bone density, everything is made for what it is he does. AD's not necessarily the same. And they usually say the taller you are, the rougher, it is on your joints and your ligaments. And it's very clear AD isn't built like that. You're just not built like that.
A lot of his shit be back tightness. That's what kills me. That's why he was out the other night. All this back tightness shit. God damn.
I mean, I know how it could affect you.
It don't seem to be no serious shit. We ain't talking ACLs,
Right.
tibulas, fibulas.
Nah, I think he's playing it cool, right? Like a kid with asthma. Like I used to have asthma, right? And if I felt an attack coming on while I was playing, I wouldn't tell anybody.
Mhm.
But what I would do is I would keep an eye out on how close I would get before I had to get back to my inhaler. Right?
Mm.
Because I don't want you taking me out the game, then all of a sudden I lose my spot because he got asthma. He needs to sit down for a second. Nah, nobody needs to know until I get a chance to get back to my inhaler. But what I'm saying is I think AD is a kid with asthma as well, where it's like I know how long it's going to be before I have an asthma attack. So I need to sit for a little bit to recover, before I go back out there. So I don't necessarily think it's back tightness so much as he's thinking it's an 82 game season. I can't just be blowing it all in the first half of it. Back half matters more, so I must save myself an asthma attack to make it there.
I don't know. He did say his goal was to play 82 games this year.
That's
From
delusional. I'd have been like, nigga, you're crazy. You need to go speak to the team therapist.
Hey, that's
Your
your
goal
boy
should
talking.
be 65 games. That's a reasonable goal, and it'd actually be impressive if AD made it 65. If AD
True.
made it 65 games, I would be impressed by him. 82 don't that now you're just crazy, and it's starting to worry me. Cause crazy motherfuckers don't win championships unless you met a world peace. But even he needed Kobe.
And Powell.
Listen,
And Ben Simmons got hit them showers too, because we talk about that all
that's
the time.
yeah, he was gonna be it, but I didn't want to
No.
pick on him.
Nope.
Give him some
Nope.
time, man. 2 years, 5 games don't match
No,
up.
he
It's
airballed a
crazy.
layup last night.
It don't matter. Like I said,
Yes,
before,
it
now
does.
you might not have heard this. You might not have heard this before I y'all hopped on. I said when you're out for 2 years, damn near, it wasn't quite 2 years, but when you're out for damn near 2 years, beyond coming back to catch your rhythm, you also got to come back and catch your confidence. And when we know he wasn't the most confident because of what he went through from Philly before he went out, it's going to take more than 5 games, especially in a new atmosphere with new players. Now you're on a team with arguably the best 2 players at their position in the league. And you think I'm going to be comfortable? After all this, everybody talking about me, everybody making a big deal out of what I thought was me recovering from an injury. Now I feel nervous. Now you're getting to my head. We knew his head wasn't bulletproof before he started. He was weak-minded. You can't have a weak-minded motherfucker in that situation and expect him to... See, they're expecting him to have the same veteran dog in them that they have. Because they knew after I was in the league for 3-4 years, I was killing it. Talking about Kyrie and KD. But Ben wasn't the same person. So you gotta get that nigga some time. You gotta let him get right.
6'11". Defensive player of the year.
He adds
2-time
value regardless. Even if he didn't take a shot, he would still have value on that court.
Well, what value is he bringing? Is what I'm asking.
He's still defense.
Not if he's fouling out 2 times already.
That shows you he's defense. Now that Ja Morant foul in that game, that wasn't a foul. That one everybody been trying to say. Now it was genius on Ja's behalf. He said, "I remember that from my rookie season," but that was genius. But that wasn't a foul. The ref just called that. That wasn't a foul. So when you look at situations like that, how many of those fouls where he fouled out weren't actually fouls? They were just called.
I mean, all I can say about Ben is at the end of the day, this has been a game that you played since you were a kid. You can hit a layup. There's a square on the backboard
right.
that you were taught to touch
Nigga.
with that basketball for it to go in.
When you're 6'11" and the rim's 10 foot, you're shooting on a Fisher Price gym. All you gotta do is jump and put it in there. Like you can put your hand up and damn near grab the rim.
But the wingspan, right? Because of the wingspan.
So
right.
what's the?
So you should
That's
never
what we need
airball
to
a
find out
layup.
for us, man.
You said
You
what?
should never airball.
But at the same time, we all know, even from playing, well, I'm saying, of course, from playing like real live basketball, even if you're not even playing in the game, just shooting around, you know how you just had them days where you were like, fuck. Like, I can't make shit. Like the times where you would shoot so much and not make it, you just needed to see the ball go in, so you would walk up and bank it off the backboard and then get back to shooting.
So, are we talking about times, or are we talking about consistently
It's been 5 games, is what I'm saying. 5 games is no consistency in an 82 game season. 5 games out of 82. That's like a 5%, less than 5% of the season.
But we can label it as trending then, right? The current trend.
Yeah, you can. No, we could do that. That's fair to say. I will say that's very fair to say.
It has not looked too good.
That's very fair to say. But yeah,
because it is a long season,
right?
But,
and then think about the amount of games. Think about the amount of season he was out. You were out about a season and a half. So a season and a half in an 82 game season is more than 120 games.
Paul George was out though for a long time.
Did he come back shitting on shit? No.
No, he wasn't.
No, he came back better than Ben because he is more skilled at scoring than Ben is. But he didn't come back great either. That's what I'm saying. When you weren't the best scorer to begin with, and people are asking why you're not scoring, and you just came back from a year and a half, it almost seems like, am I in the Twilight Zone here? I wasn't a scorer before I went out. And now you're asking me to be something I wasn't before I left, coming back off of an injury. Y'all sound crazy, not me.
Well, during that injury time, it wasn't like he was just injured the whole time. He was injured, obviously, like for periods of time, but there's time to rehab.
But people are upset he's not scoring. I was never a scorer. We know Ben was a distributor and a defensive man. That's what he did. I got assists, and you would look at his points and be like 16, 18, 20. But his rebounds and assists, damn near triple-double. That's what he did. So now he came back, and all of a sudden he's on the Nets, a team we expect to be a high-scoring atmosphere. And we're like, Ben, why aren't you doing no scoring? Because I wasn't before. It's that simple. I wasn't doing that before. If you needed a score, you shouldn't have drafted or traded for me.
But I'm just saying, regardless of who you are,
they don't need scoring.
Being 6'11", you should have the ability to score.
Kyrie and KD had both over 30 in that Memphis game. They don't need scoring. They need Ben to be Ben. But Ben can't even come back from an injury, let alone be Ben, because they're asking him to be somebody he's not.
I think it'll be all right.
He gonna be all right. He gonna be all right. He just it's a Russell Westbrook situation. You gotta have your 18 points, 8 rebounds, 3 assists, and 1 steal game to start you on the journey of getting your confidence back. You don't think?
Nah. He just needs to contribute to a win. That's all I see. Impact moments.
Let's do it. If he's good at defense,
get the crowd on your side. Get your fans on your side.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Just do what you're good at.
Like I said, you've been playing this since you was a kid. They loved you because of your hustle, your grit, what you do. Get back to it. Stop thinking so much.
Right. Well,
that's who beating Ben up. That's the mental block. He beating himself.
In the meantime, Ben, hit the showers. But for now, we out. So like, subscribe, share, tell a friend to tell a friend. Tell an enemy, tell them to troll. Until next time, we'll be back Wednesday with an NFL show. Be good or be good at it. Shower heads, we out.